I would have all this really more, yeah, make sure that the patches and all
Anything on
Well, are you gonna put up the preamble? Read off of your screen, yes. Yeah, that's true. To the, I don't know why it's so slow. So is the whole program not connected?
No, it is. It's just there's a large delay. Like this computer's just joined onto the meeting too, and it sees it.
Ah, there we go.
If it's easier to read from this, that's fine. Or move this one over. Whichever.
Yeah, might be. All right. Good morning. Welcome to the March 27th, 2025 Cleveland Landmarks Commission meeting. We welcome everyone, those in attendance and joining us virtually. In compliance with notification requirements of Ohio's open meeting law and section 101.021 of the codified ordinances of Cleveland, Ohio, 1976, notice of this meeting has been publicly posted. All boards and commissions under the purview of the City Planning Department conducts its meetings according to Robert's Rules of Order. Actions during the meeting will be taken by roll call vote. Recusal from any case due to a conflict of interest should be stated for the record prior to the beginning of the presentation. In order to ensure that everyone participating in the meeting has an opportunity to be heard, virtual attendees will use the raise hand feature before asking a question or making a comment. The raised hand feature can be found on the participants panel in the desktop and mobile versions and activated by clicking the hand icon. Please wait for the chair or facilitator to recognize you and be sure to select unmute and announce yourself before you speak. When finished speaking, please lower your hand and by clicking the raise hand icon again and mute your microphone. Call-in users can unmute by using *6. All meeting activity is being recorded via the WebEx platform. These proceedings are also being live streamed via YouTube. All requests to speak on a particular matter submitted through proper channels have been considered. Communication with members of this body must follow proper channels for consideration. Any comments received by the stated deadline are collected by Landmark staff and disseminated to commission members prior to any scheduled meeting. Dana, please through the procedures.
All right, the chair will call each agenda item and then each applicant will be invited to proceed through their presentation. Each presentation should be completed prior to questions and comments from the commission in order to facilitate a smooth presentation. Once the presentation is concluded, the chair will ask Landmark staff to summarize design review advisory committee recommendations and any public comments received. The deadline for public comment is noon on the Tuesday prior to any regularly scheduled Cleveland Landmarks Commission meeting. Any received comments are distributed to commission members prior to the meeting. Staff will also identify any members of the public present and scheduled to speak. Public comment is allowed at the discretion of the chair, and any individual providing public comment is permitted 2 minutes to speak to the agenda item in which they have an interest. The chair will then request a recommendation from staff, and the commission will begin deliberation and project review. Any commission member except the chair may make a motion at any point after an agenda item has been called.
Thank you, Dan. We'll call the Cleveland Landmarks Commission meeting for March 27th, 2025 to order. Please call the roll.
Ms. Anderson,
Here.
Mr. Dryer,
Here.
Mr. Dulick. Here. Councilmember Gray. Mr. Lozier,
Here.
Director Mersman,
Here.
Mr. Sandberry. Here. Mr. Strickland,
Here.
Mr. Trasick,
Here.
Dr. Williams,
Here.
and Ms. Trott. Mr. Chairman, we do have quorum. I'd also like to note that we have Sierra Lipscomb from the Law Department here and Jessica Beam, Rachel Pierce, and myself from Landmark staff present.
All right, thank you very much. We'll start with certificates of appropriateness, case number 25015, Little Italy Historic District. Ciani, signage at 12403 Mayfield Road. Would the applicant please introduce yourself and tell us about your project?
Yes, good morning. I am James Vasey with Signature Sign Company. Here this morning to seek approval for some variances, two actually that we need for this particular sign. But let me go over the signage first. So this is a double-sided projecting sign, very ornate in its design. I think it fits in really nice with the similar signs in the Little Italy area. Of course, we've got some neon involved with this sign, which makes it a little bit unique in that area. And so we're using a few different, two different types of neon and some various colors. As you see in the picture there, the orange, which I think represents the martini glass, the V or the 1-inch tubing on there has, it's a clear neon pump with red gas, so it's going to light up a red color. So we'll accentuate that reflective orange vinyl that's on the cocktail glass. Then on the CENT part of the sign, it's backed up with white vinyl. And then here again, there's emerald green, which is a classic color of neon that's borders or accents those letters. Then right below it, the ANI, the ANNI. Here again is another classic color, which is a ruby red. And then down below, or it says down the alley because Cinti Alley is down the alley there. That arrow is bordered with a standard green neon. So we're trying to let everyone know that they're down the alley and hence that arrow there. So of course this is a double-sided sign, so you can see the signs going each way up and down the hill. If anyone has any questions, I can answer those now, and then we can go into the variance parts that are needed for this sign.
All right, well, I'll hold questions for the moment. Is there a design review committee report?
Thank you,
We-
Mr. Chair. Thank you, Mr. Chair. This project was reviewed by the Greater Northeast Historic Design Review Advisory Committee on the 18th. The committee was in favor of the sign. They did discuss the location and wanting to make sure that it doesn't block the neighboring sign, so that way you have a good view up and down Mayfield of all of the beautiful signage in Little Italy. And question of like light impact to the apartments that are on that level there. But overall, very supportive of the sign and recommended the issuance of a certificate of appropriateness as presented. Mr. Marinucci from Little Italy Redevelopment Corporation was present at that meeting and did also state his support for the signage as well.
Thank you very much. And Landmark staff recommendation?
All right, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Landmark staff essentially agrees with local design review committee. We're supportive of it. Want to ensure that it doesn't obscure anyone else's signage, but generally, it's a creative solution to get a projecting sign on a building that would otherwise be a challenge to add signage to. There are at least one or two variances needed. We can't get too specific on the variances because there's some information that the zoning folks still need, like the distance from the curb that the sign will end up and the distance from interior lot lines. The sign company has been forwarded these variances. It sounds like there's some criteria that if they can meet, they won't need one of the variances, but if they don't meet those criteria, they'll need at least a 2 square foot variance, as this is a 14 square foot projecting sign, and there's a 12 square foot max allowed. But Landmarks, essentially, we think the design is fine and appropriate and would recommend approval with granting any needed variances.
All right, but you're still waiting for additional information with regard to the actual variances needed?
Yes, yeah, we can't give the specific numbers of, how much variance is needed for the different elements because we don't have all the details, but Landmarks is supportive of granting those variances regardless of what those final numbers end up being.
All right, thank you, Dan. So we'll open it up to the commission for any questions or comments.
Can I add something here? Talking to Xavier or with the email from Xavier yesterday, he had said that if there was any way possible that we could move that sign 2 feet away from that corner of the building, that there wouldn't be any variances. We will be allowed 8-foot projecting on that sign, but there's actually a window there. We can't move it over anymore because there's just no space to fasten. And so we would need, as far as that second variance would be, we would need a 10 1/4 inch of variance. The variance is 4 feet and we're at 4'10", I think, 1/4. So it's not a huge, as far as projecting out. That particular sidewalk is 11'5" inch. So I don't know if that might
Okay,
clarify.
thank you for that additional information. We'll open it up to the commission for comments and questions. All right, I'll get comments. I think it's a very handsome sign, kind of unique, but appropriate for this neighborhood. And I would be in favor of granting any variance that is required to accommodate this sign. Are there any further comments or questions? Seeing none, Dan, please. Oh,
Michelle has something.
Michelle, Miss Anderson.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I think it's an attractive, very fun sign. I like the sign a lot. I'm just wondering about the impact on the neighbors and the building. You know, how late in the evening would the sign be lit? I imagine that you shut it off after closing the operation.
We haven't discussed that, but I would assume that the property owners would actually turn the sign off. I know it's a cocktail bar, so I'm not sure what their hours are, but I'm guessing they're going to be open at least, I would guess, till 11. I just don't know what their hours are, but that would be something that we could stipulate to them, saying, hey, you know, you have to, when you're closed, the sign has to be turned off.
Yeah, I think for the sake of the residents there, it'd probably be best to provide them, darkness in the evening if when possible. But
Yeah,
overall,
I'm sorry.
I'm
Go ahead.
sorry.
I just wanted to say that building is actually owned by the same people that own the cocktail bar. So that is their property.
Okay, all right. So those are their tenants, and but overall, I think it's a cute sign, and I support it. But yeah, that's my one concern is the impact on the residents in that apartment.
All right, thank you, Ms. Anderson. Any other comments or questions? Seeing none, Dan, please call the roll.
We need a motion.
Oh, yeah, excuse me. We need a motion. Okay, Mr. Tulip.
I would like to make a motion to approve as presented, with the requirement that the lighting of the sign be limited to operational hours for the bar and including support for any variances required.
Thank you, Mr. Dulick. We have a motion. We have a second.
A second.
Mr. Sandberg, seconds. All right. Any further discussion on the motion? Seeing none. Now, Dan, let's go.
Ms. Anderson, the computer may have glitched out for a second. Ms. Anderson, you want to vote on this?
Yes,
Okay, thank you.
yes, I do. I'm here.
Thanks. Mr. Dreyer,
Yes.
Mr. Dulick,
Yes.
Councilmember Gray, Mr. Lozier,
Yes.
Director Mersman,
Yes.
Mr. Sambry,
Yes.
Mr. Trasick,
Yes.
Dr. Williams,
Yes.
and Mr. Strickland.
Yes.
All right, Mr. Chairman, the motion passes unanimously.
All right. Thank you, Dan. And
Board.
congratulations. And looking
Thank you.
forward to
Very much.
seeing the sign in place. Thank you.
Yes. Okay. Thank you.
Move on to our second case, case number 25016, Ohio City Historic District, 3897 Clinton Avenue window replacement. Would the applicant please introduce yourself and tell us about your project?
Hi, this is Adam Arar. I'm a design consultant with Renewal by Anderson. Hello, everybody. This project, we're replacing on the front side of the building. There's a total of 3 openings with 2 windows side by side that are double hung that go up and down. And we want to replace those units. The homeowner chose gliding windows that'll slide side to side with a simulated check rail that'll look just like, that'll mimic that double hung look on the front side of the building there. If we could. Sorry, is there a way to go to the 3rd page of the PowerPoint? I'm having issues. One more.
Sorry, there might be a bit of a lag here. But
Okay, there it is.
is this the one you were looking for?
Yeah. So on the front side of the building there, opening 202, 201, and 300. So when you look at the front side of the building on the second floor, there's two openings with two windows in each that go up and down. We're going to move them. We're going to change those to side with a simulated check rail. And then right above them on the third floor will be the third unit going in. If we can go to the next one. One more. There we go. So as you can see on the left side, the existing units currently and the way they look. And then the one on the right side is what we are going to replace them to try and keep everything looking the same. There are buildings down the street that already have casements and gliders. So there's a lot of different styles of windows in that area. But aside from that, I can answer any questions. It's just there's another view of that elevation.
Does that conclude your presentation?
Oh, yes, sir.
All right,
Thank you.
thank you. And so do we have a design review report?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This project was reviewed by the Historic Ohio City Design Review Advisory Committee on the 20th. There was a lot of discussion on the appropriateness for changing the configuration of the windows from the double hung or paired double hung window to a glider, and the kind of visual change that would make, if a simulated check rail would actually be able to mimic the appearance of two double hung windows, and also discussion on that the proposed new windows will not match the existing 2/1 look that the rest of the building has, that some of the other windows do have. Ultimately, they did recommend the issuance of a certificate of appropriateness as presented, with a 4-3 vote.
Thank you. And the landmark staff report.
All right, thank you, Mr. Chairman. So yeah, I guess staff understands this is a newer building. It's less than 20 years old. And there is a desire to change the configuration of the windows, which we typically aren't supportive of. Ideally, we'd like to see these remain double hung so they match the rest of the windows on the building, since they're only talking about replacing 3 sets of windows, and this building has many more windows than just these 3. Kind of primary concern, aside from moving to the slider or glider, I think Adam's proposal for the check rail minimizes that nicely. But the windows that are currently there are paired essentially 2/1 or mimicked 2/1. So there's an interior muntin or grid in the upper sash of all those that won't be included in these new windows. So essentially you'll have most of the windows on the building looking like 2/1s, and then these ones will look like more like 1/1s, but they'll actually be sliders. So so I guess staff does not support the current proposal just based on the changing configuration.
All right, thank you, Dan. With that, we'll open it up for commission questions and comments.
Thank you. I'm wondering if the applicant could talk to us a little bit more about why the different configuration is desired. I saw in the presentation that the current windows have some operational challenges. They're drafty, not energy efficient. But why this particular style change rather than just updating the windows to newer, better, more efficient, and more operable windows of the same configuration?
Yeah, thank you. I showed the homeowner, I built it double hung. I built it casement. And they elected to go with the glider for ease of to make it easier to use. And then they had done a massive remodeling project on the interior of the home into the kitchen and dining room. And the gliding window was the window that she had selected for that nice big view there. That was the only, that was the reasoning.
All right, thank you. Any other questions or comments from the commission? Bamber?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I guess my personal opinion, according to the county auditor's card, building was built in 2009. So it's 15 years ago. It's within a historic district, but this building is not historic. So it's not a contributing building to the district. And even if it was, National Park Service tends not to look at the operation of windows as long as the mullions and the appearance look the same. So I have no issue with the operational change of the window. And because it's not a contributing building to the district, I don't have a major issue with the missing mullions on the upper portion of the windows. So I am in support of this because it's a newer building.
Thank you, Mr. Sandberg. I have a question for the applicant. Will there be screens on these windows, and how are the screens handled on the existing windows versus the new windows?
There are screens. Currently the screens are on the outside of the windows. Some of the windows currently have screens and some of them don't have the screens in them. The new units will have one big screen on the exterior of the window.
I see. Covering both
yes.
leaves, essentially.
Yes, it'll be they are removable as well.
And the existing windows that do have screens, are they full screens or half screens?
They are half screens currently.
All right. So the replacements will have a full screen.
That is correct. Yes.
Thank you. Had you discussed with the applicant consideration of adding a mutton simulated divided light in the upper portion of the sash to simulate what the appearance of the other windows?
I did have that discussion with the homeowner. Can we go back one slide on this PowerPoint? Oh, I'm sorry. Two slides forward. I did have, bear with me just one moment, okay? I'm sorry. There should be a slide in there that says scope of work. It might be one after this slide here. Okay, this was this one here. Full screen, no grill. Yeah, I had added the mutton in the first time, and then the homeowner wanted to remove them with the project manager, so I had to redo the paperwork to remove those mutton, the grill pattern from that window. Yes, I went through it a couple times.
So it was discussed with the homeowner, and they specifically indicated a preference for not having the simulated.
That's correct.
All right. Is there Mr. Lozier?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just want to say that I appreciate Mr. Sandberry's comments about that he mentioned about interior standards, Secretary of the Interior standards. I in theory agree with that, but I think the challenge that I have with this particular application is the inconsistency on the front facade. We're only changing a few of the windows, not all of the windows. And I think that will have a material impact on the design of that front facade. So I guess a question that I have to the applicant is does the homeowner anticipate in the future replacing the rest of the windows? or not?
That is correct.
They will be?
Yes, they will be. We had to phase the project out due to cost and investment.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Lozier. Ms. Anderson, do you still have a question?
Yeah, I'll take this opportunity. I appreciate that the homeowner is selecting a high quality window that is an appropriate material. I think my preference would be to retain the 2/3 mutton style. And my concern is which can bring water in on a north facing window if you happen to have it open, and the slider windows will allow more wind and water into the house. So I think there's probably some wisdom to sticking with a double hung window, but I suppose as long as I'm still torn about it. When they win, it's not going to retain that look of a double hung window. So those are my concerns. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Anderson. Councilwoman Gray?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, yes, thank you. I just want to comment on Mr. Sandberg and the young man just spoke before Ms. Anderson. I appreciate both of y'all comments, but my question is, since this house is not historical, but it's in a historical area, this is the reason why we are listening to the case of the windows, because it's in a historical area, even though it's not a historical landmark house, because it was built in the historical area.
That's correct.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Any other questions or comments? All right, with not, go ahead, Mr. Sandberg.
Did this building come before us when it was constructed?
Through the chair, yes. It went through the Ohio City Design Review Committee and the Landmarks Commission for approval before it was constructed. My memory is not that good. I'm sure windows came up. I remember seeing this when it came through. Specifically because there was an issue with the brick color when they installed it, so they had to stain the brick to match what was approved. I'm sure the windows were discussed, but I don't know. I don't recall at what level.
Okay. Yes. Question, I guess, is, was there, I may not know the answer, but was there a push for the original design to have a 2/1 window design from this body when it was approved?
I don't recall. I think, as far as I remember, it was certainly always proposed as basically double hung windows, but I don't remember if the 2/1 was something this commission pushed or if that was something the applicants wanted to do on their own.
Thank you.
I'm just going to add a comment here that given the additional information that the applicant intends to replace the balance of the windows in the future, and this is essentially a phased project given budgetary constraints. I think ultimately the house will present in a consistent manner in the future when the project is completed, especially on the front-facing facade. So with that consideration, I would be in favor of approving the certificate in this case. Councilwoman Gray, do you have another comment?
sorry, let me take my hand down. Thank you.
Okay. Mr. Dulick?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Yeah, just a quick comment. I guess my concern would be that the remainder of the windows, I believe, are all smaller openings. So they would not be the slider type. They would remain double hung. So through the chair to the applicant. That's my question.
That's correct. That's why we kept that simulated check rail look, because some of the existing windows that'll be done in the future are single double hung windows. So we wanted everything to match and look the same across that building.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, personal experience has been performance issues, especially with very tall sliding windows. They're a lot more vulnerable to warping and change over time. Even the high quality ones, I get it. You're using high quality and appreciate that along with my fellow commissioners. It's just a concern to think about, but just to clarify my own understanding, it seems that the desire is when open that the homeowner gets the larger view, correct? From the inside, that's the desire. And understand that.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, I think it's balancing the desire with what our actual purview is as a commission. I think this is a really interesting philosophical discussion, but I don't want to beat a dead horse. I just want to know what the desires are and kind of what our parameters are. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Dooley. Any other comments or questions from the commission? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion
Sandberg.
to approve as presented with the recommendation that they go back to the homeowner and suggest strongly the addition of mullions to make it 2/1.
All right, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
This is Alan, I'll second.
All right, thank you, Mr. Dyer. We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion on the motion? Seeing none.
Mr. Lozier.
Oh, Mr. Lozier?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I would ask that as the applicant comes back with future phases, that these windows match, the next set of windows will match what is being considered here today.
Yes, I would agree to adding that as a requirement. That new windows would match.
Okay. As a requirement. Mr. Dryer? Do you agree with that?
Yes.
All right, thank you. All right, we have a motion as amended. Seeing no further discussion, Dan, please call the roll.
Ms. Anderson?
Yes.
Mr. Dryer?
Yes.
Mr. Dulick?
Yes.
Councilmember Gray?
Yes.
Mr. Lozier?
Yes.
Director Mersman?
Yes.
Mr. Sandberg?
Yes.
Mr. Tresick?
Yes.
Dr. Williams?
Yes.
And Mr. Strickland?
Yes.
Mr. Chairman, the motion passes unanimously.
All right. Congratulations. Look forward to having your project completed.
Thank you. Have a nice day.
All right, you as well. Okay, that concludes our certificates of appropriateness. We'll move on to a discussion of section 106, City of Cleveland, Ohio's Historic Preservation Office Programmatic Agreement.
Thank you, Chair. So just a reminder for everyone, my name is Rachel Pierce. I joined the Landmark staff in November of 2024. My primary role is facilitating Section 106 compliance for the city. So this discussion, which will be rather brief, is to just talk about a new programmatic agreement we're entering into with the Ohio Historic Preservation Office, and open up a public comment period that will last until our next commission meeting on April 10th. So, Mr. Musson, if you can go to the next slide. And one more after that. Showing it. No. Okay, so as I mentioned, we're preparing to enter into a new programmatic agreement with Ohio Historic Preservation Office to facilitate compliance with Section 106 of the National Historic Preservation Act, also referred to as 36 CFR Part 800. And just for those of you who may not be completely familiar with Section 106, I did include an excerpt from the Advisory Council on Historic Preservation, which is the federal agency that oversees this process. It reads, Section 106 requires federal agencies to consider the effects on historic properties of projects they carry out, assist, fund, permit, license, or approve throughout the country. If a federal or federally assisted project has the potential to affect historic properties, a Section 106 review will take place. So here in the city of Cleveland, and what I'm mostly dealing with are HUD-funded projects that have to go through a Section 106 review. And that's 24 CFR Part 58 federal regulation. And as part of that, in order to facilitate those reviews of HUD-funded projects, we have a programmatic agreement with the Ohio Historic Preservation Office. And we've had one for about 30 years, which Dan used to facilitate, Mr. Musson used to facilitate. And the programmatic agreement is a very boilerplate agreement, and over 150 communities in Ohio have a programmatic agreement of some level with the Ohio Historic Preservation Office. And some of the, grants that we're seeing come through, mostly community development here in the city of Cleveland, would be community development block grants, social services, operating support grants, citywide development assistant grants, CDC activity grants, neighborhood development activity grants, emergency solution grants, and housing opportunities for persons with AIDS or HOPWA grants as well. And as I said, all of those are through community development. So I work closely with them on a regular basis to facilitate reviews. And a lot of the projects I'm reviewing are single family homes, people who are affected by lead, and, senior homeowner assistance programs mostly at this point. We also have a relationship with the Cuyahoga Metropolitan Housing Authority to facilitate their Section 106 reviews as well. So the programmatic agreement is key for the city of Cleveland because we can expedite reviews rather quickly. If we didn't have this programmatic agreement in place, every single project that would be coming through for Section 106 review would go through the Ohio Historic Preservation Office. So through this agreement, we're able to, exempt some activities and make the process a lot quicker. Or, I need a little bit of a closer eye, but it takes way less time than going to the Ohio Historic Preservation Office for review. Next slide, please. So we're entering into a public notice period for the new programmatic agreement. Initially, we were entering into an amended programmatic agreement with the Ohio Historic Preservation Office that didn't require this public notification period. And then after the Ohio Historic Preservation Office consulted with the Advisory Council on Historic Preservation Office, they determined it's a new agreement. Thus, we are entering into a public comment period. And so we're opening that up today. I do want to note that we are seeking consultation from the Advisory Council on Historic Preservation and Tribal Historic Preservation Offices about the new programmatic agreement per federal regulations. And also, Mr. Musson has signed a letter on behalf of the Cleveland Landmarks Commission offering to be a consulting party under this new programmatic agreement, which is consistent over the last several decades of the commission being a consulting party. And then also Cleveland Restoration Society has also signed on as a consulting party too at this point. So to open the public comment period on March 24th, which was this week, the public was notified that a new programmatic agreement is in progress via our Landmarks Commission website. A notice of this presentation and a copy of the programmatic agreement was posted in association with this meeting, and I have the meeting link here for anyone in the public who wants to download the programmatic agreement and view it. If anyone wants to request a hard copy, they can do so, or provide public comment, and I have my contact information here. I can receive those via email, phone, or of course through US mail. And as mentioned previously, the public comment period will close April 10th. We will allow public comment to occur during that meeting, but otherwise we'll just receive written comments and take that into notice. So that concludes my part of the presentation. If Mr. Musson wants to add anything, feel free.
I don't think there's anything to add, but yeah, Rachel and I can both answer any questions people have. As she alluded to, I've been working under a programmatic agreement between the City of Cleveland and State Preservation Office doing 106 reviews for almost 20 years now. So I will say it's kind of a critical piece to have for the city to spend CDBG dollars and enter into contracts. Like Rachel said, without it, everything has to go down to the State Preservation Office for review. So if a senior citizen has their furnace break, typically that's a quick turnaround and we can have someone out there within a day or two to repair it. If we have to wait for the state to review it, you could be looking at up to 30 days just to give that basic level of assistance to our residents. So it's really, I view as a critical piece to our use of CDBG dollars. And then as far as us being, the commission being a consulting party, that's something we've done. I think as long as we've had a programmatic agreement with the State Preservation Office, and essentially it just gives us the opportunity to chime in and act as a consulting party on any undertaking that we have interest in. So from time to time over the years, we've brought larger projects to the commission to get feedback on either the question as to whether something's eligible for the National Register or, you know, are these appropriate mitigation measures that are laid out in a memorandum of agreement between the state and the city. So it doesn't really change that role. And even though this is a new document and not an amendment as it was first sort of presented to us, it's very, very similar to what we've had in the past. So there are no real, I would say, substantive changes. There were just enough, I think, differences in format and wording that the Advisory Council of Historic Preservation looked at it and said, no, this is a new document. You need to go through the whole process. So.
Right. Any questions or comments from the commission with regard to this report? I have a question. Was this revision or this new document prompted by SHPO or by the city?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So our programmatic agreement with the SHPO usually runs 5 years. They're 5-year documents essentially. So it expired in December of 2024. So we began the process in December 24 of kind of preparing the, you know, the letters and notifications for the boilerplate. The last few times we've had to essentially renew the document, we just call it an amendment, and it's fairly administrative, but it did not pan out this time. So well, it puts the city in kind of a bind because now we have to send everything to the SHPO. The SHPO are having to review everything for 150 communities throughout the city that they normally wouldn't have to look to until everyone gets under programmatic agreement. So, so yeah, I think all parties involved have a
So the
strong
current
desire to get
agreement
this
has
done.
expired.
It has expired, yes. And we were typically when we're just doing amendment, we're allowed to continue using it until the amendment is in place. But the advisory council and HUD have decided that since this is a new document, that's not the case this time. So it's yeah.
So this will be on the agenda for our April meeting to approve the new agreement.
I don't know that we need to approve it. I think it's just we're kind of using this as the consulting party. Like this is the opportunity for the public to, I guess, talk about the document, ask questions if they have it, submit public comment, and then for this body to ask any questions. As so, but I don't know that we need a formal vote or approval, but it will be back on the April 10th agenda and
For discussion.
for discussion. Yeah, and we'll probably do a brief overview of it again too, just in case anyone missed this meeting, but can make that one.
Any other comments? All right. Thank you very much for that.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll move on to administrative reports.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. No real reports other than we did get our cards this year for the Harvest for Hunger and the Mayor's Holiday Food Basket. So I can pass those out to those who are here in person. And for those who are remote, we're happy to scan and mail those or email those to you later today if that's preferable. But no other administrative reports.
All right. Okay, I guess with that, Dan's gonna pass out the pledge cards for the mayor's initiative and Harvest for Hunger. And with that, we'll adjourn and see everyone on the 10th. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
My mic. You're again.
Thanks, everyone.
Sorry. I'm bang the gavel.
So we are adjourned.
Not used to the new technology. My first time in the room since it's